UEFA Nations League is over.
Have you got over? Because I listened to the show from Thursday. You were a bit downhearted.
I was a bit downhearted.
You feel
but
better now?
Right back at it.
Good
right
man.
back at the races.
Can't give a good man down. Listen, tough times don't last. Tough people do.
Hands on the bronze. England win another penalty shootout so soon after the last one. It's getting a bit easy, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have to say, I never thought I'd live to see the day. I understand it's a pointless game and all that. So obviously that contributed largely.
I imagine this was still wanted to win it.
I'm sorry to think you want to win it.
Yeah.
But to see England in a penalty shootout, considering the history of England in penalty shootouts, to see, because it was the penalties were taken at the England end of the ground, and Harry Maguire steps up to the first one, and that chant, Harry Maguire, bom, bom.
Yeah.
You heard that one.
Yeah.
And
Is it La Bamba? No.
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
And you've got the England fans partying away whilst one of our centre-halves is about to take the first penalty shootout. I thought, I've never lived to see the day where there was a party atmosphere and the England fans going, hey, another penalty shootout, we should be okay.
It was an absolute pile driver of a penalty as
beauty.
well, wasn't it? And actually, you know what? As pointless as that game is, I'm glad to take England winning 2 penalty shootouts on the bounce, even if one of them is pointless. It's just a good habit to be in.
Southgate was using that penalty shootout as penalty practice, get like experience for some of the players. You look at the takers. You had Maguire, then Ross Barkley, obviously Panenka it.
God, he would miss that in a tournament. You know that.
It was a tournament, Jim.
I'm going to say, Jim, a major one now, we have to call it. Jadon Sancho, Raheem Sterling, please, because he'd missed a couple of chances, unlucky with a free kick. Jordan Pickford himself, Kevin Pressman-esque.
But that gave him real sort of, that really pumped him up.
He loves it.
Although the penalty that he had after that, he was pretty poor on. But there you go.
Pickford is the only England player to have made the team of the tournament.
Right.
You know,
and with the penalty shootout,
and then Eric Dyer scored as well.
With the penalty shootout victories, he scored in a much more convincing way than he did against Colombia as well. With the penalty shootout in competition thing, the more you win them,
of course,
in theory, the better you're going to get because you'll be more confident. A lot of it's to do with confidence. So one thing begets the other, I think.
Yeah. That nervousness is trying to get away with it. It's penalties. You've got to go out there and score, and they look sort of fairly relaxed.
I think a big part of the penalty issue, though, is that England have an inferiority complex against teams that are traditionally bigger than them. It's like you were saying about the Champions League, actually, and the sort of the finals where the bigger team tends to come to the fore. And I think England sensed that in shootouts. I was confident against Colombia, as I was against Switzerland, because I think England think they should beat them, so they probably will. And it's, we need to take the scalp of a Germany or someone like that on penalty before we can relax.
Do you remember Iceland?
England fans, superior in the streets.
Yeah, classy in the sheets.
England players, not as good in the match.
Don't know that we are superior in the streets.
No, they think they're superior in the streets.
That's
what I mean. That is the root of all problem.
England were the better team in the game, though.
They were.
Had a lot of chances.
Yeah,
definitely.
They should have put them away. But I think actually, as the game went on in extra time, I think to myself, actually, in a weird way, if England hadn't won sort of 2 or 3-0 and broken them down a few times, it was almost better to win on penalties because of that experience and that.
It's got more value, definitely.
Can we let the players rest now?
Yeah.
Can we just give them a couple of weeks off?
Seems quite endless, doesn't it?
It's fair to say they've deserved a holiday.
They're probably only going to get a few weeks, aren't they? Now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, the demands on the top flight footballers nowadays.
I don't get how rich you are and how much you're getting compensated for being a footballer, having just under a month off.
Well, unless you can afford to buy some sort of bionic body, the money doesn't make any difference.
Well, spare a thought for the top flight African and South American players, because you've got the African Cup of Nations and Copa America starting soon.
But you've also, the nature of pre-season now for the big clubs is that they're
so
all
long,
tours around Asia or the US, and they're exhausting.
Yeah, massively.
Absolutely.
Some of these players may be given a little bit extra time.
Yeah,
off.
you'd hope so.
Yeah,
you'd certainly hope.
But
so.
that's the exception rather than the rule, isn't it?
True.
Something you guys talked about on Thursday was the England squad. This particular England team who are exciting and going places we hope, not being able to fashion a lot of chances through open play, and I don't think they've scored a goal from open play for quite a long time now. And the reasons for that, and obviously you recorded that show before this third place game where again England have drawn a blank. I know they're a bit unlucky, but they didn't take chances.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to add to that, just because I think it's relevant to this game, is to me, a part of the reason for it is because I don't get to spend as much time together. And that wasn't mentioned on Thursday, but it seems pretty obvious to me watching this game at the weekend, because the reason I think that teams who play together as club sides all the time, they get almost like a subconscious sixth sense about the other players'
this
movements.
Is what Kevin De Bruyne was talking
exactly.
about.
Kevin De Bruyne's quotes on it were really interesting about John Stones. So I wonder whether it actually is a a good long-term strategy to just become really good at set pieces. It's not glamorous. It's not sexy. Maybe it's a stick to beat people with sometimes. But a goal is a goal.
That's why it was so gutting that Lingard one was offside.
I know. That was a lovely move. Yeah.
But I mean,
even Callum Wilson, we got done again by VAR. But rightly so. Rightly so.
Did you think that foul was that clear cut?
I didn't. I certainly didn't think it was clear and obvious. But I mean, it was a foul, wasn't it? So I guess it's the referee interpreting.
Well, as I say,
as he sees it,
because
you can't really go, it's not a clear and obvious foul, but it is a foul, but I'm going to let it go. It's a weird rule, that.
In which case, if it's clear and obvious, you shouldn't have missed it, and you're fired.
I tell you something though, if Trent Alexander-Arnold becomes the first choice right back,
I think he has
surely
to.
England are going to score from open play soon enough.
Oh wow! Did he make 7 chances in that game?
He has to become first.
Phenomenal.
The most amount of crosses I think an England player's put in since Beckham v Andorra in 2009. I think the stat was off the top of my head.
The quality he's showing, the season he's had, the age he's at as well, and how well he stepped up for England as well. I mean, we're talking. If he can keep this up and develop at a good rate, it could be the best right back in the world. Well, he's an absolutely fantastic player.
As you say, if he keeps it, I mean, it's unlikely that this will play out, but he could be the right back for the next 10 years or something for England if he continues.
The perspective which really hit home for me with Alexander-Arnold is that he's younger than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And everyone's talking about Wan-Bissaka, he's great, he's a good prospect, we've got to keep him in the under-21s. And Alexander-Arnold, who's, I think is born the year after him, has already won the Champions League and is somebody...
2 Champions League finals.
Yeah, 2 Champions League, and looks like, for me at least, I don't know how you guys feel, but he has to start right back from England. Yeah. He's simply better than Kyle Walker.
Yeah, absolutely, and Trippier too. And I feel in maybe 4, 5, 6 years when Jurgen Klopp takes over as England manager and we're going to win the next tournament, he'll know him very well and it'll work out. That familiarity will be useful.
I'd like to point out that England finishing third at the UEFA Nations League is the first time since Euro 68 that England have finished third in a major tournament.
That just sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it really
Euro
does.
68.
When I read that in the running order you put around, I had to check it.
Yeah.
It's not something that really springs to mind, Euro 68.
Well, the Euros never, I would argue the Euros never really got going until one could say 1988. When the Dutch won, it was 8 teams in the tournament. But I honestly think Euro 96 was when it became like
were
that
there 4 teams in Euro 68? Is that how we finished third?
Yeah, that's it.
I think it was similar to the UEFA Nations League. I think you had to do little qualifying groups and then 4 went through to the actual tournament.
Right.
I think
the actual tournament is only listed as 4 teams, though.
Yes.
No matter how rigorous the qualification is.
Sure.
Italy, Yugoslavia, England, and Slovenia. Soviet Union, and we came third.
Hey, it's a good
2 of them
lineup.
don't exist.
Yeah. Well,
So does that mean we run us up?
A second,
guess so,
we still
yeah.
don't win.
Where have they
Italy
gone?
had only
Who
just been
knows?
formed as a nation then.
Did you see Southgate said that the medals they received for finishing third were just like basically lobbed to them in a bag? There you are, lads.
I love
Should be enough in there.
Yeah.
Just got them down a little trophy shop.
It's better than having a podium and all that, though. That would have been particularly excruciating.
Yeah.
But I mean, what about Joe Gomez starting centre half?
Joseph Dave Gomez.
Yes,
I think he has to start as well.
I think he could be England's best centre half.
Yeah, I think he has to start. I think hasn't Southgate already said that Stones is going to take a bit of time out now until he starts games consistently for Man City, which is quite a bold thing to say, by the way.
Bold, but also very fair because he's said yes, I am going to drop him, but here is why he will get back in the team. He's so great at that stuff. Southgate.
He is Southgate. Although he's got a bit of a blind spot with Fabian Delph, though.
You think?
Do you think?
Well, think about it. I mean,
what other options
when
do we
he
have,
said
Marcus?
but people would say to Southgate, if you're holding him to his word, that he says I'm going to pick players who are playing for their clubs and they're on form and that. And Delph's hardly kicked a ball for Man City. I don't disagree, and I think to hold him to that particularly might be a bit harsh.
I just think he didn't have a choice.
No,
in that instance, because
Dyer's
had injury. Well, he committed to not playing Henderson because of the Champions League final, didn't he? I think that was probably a commitment he made to Liverpool. I mean, given that Holland played Van Dijk, means maybe he didn't have to do it. And Henderson was only past fit on the morning of the game, wasn't he, or something?
Maybe it was just too much for him. He'll have seen him in training. I imagine Delph is the sort of player that works really, really hard in training, and also he's the closest thing to James Milner, really, isn't he? A guy who is going to fill in where needed and just do a job that you ask him to do.
Well,
so it's probably through that.
I think his attitude's pretty good. I think he's good to have around the camp. He gets people going. You saw in that Man City documentary. But I wonder, while we're talking about Delph, I'd like to see him move from Man City because I think he's got stuff to offer. I really do, and I think he can offer. I know it's unlikely he would go to Manchester United, but a side like that, you want a bit of desire in there, you want a bit of legs.
They're going to fume into where you say that.
Who, Man United? Well, some of them central midfielders have been questioned about their attitude in the season just gone.
Could he join the Rafa Lucian?
Hey,
wherever he turns up.
Yeah. Well,
Oi.
all I'm saying is delve to me.
The Jose Lucian,
Yeah.
mate.
More on that later.
Yeah.
More on that later. But I just think he's got something to offer. He's won things. He's got the right attitude. I understand for
He's a
his
senior pro now as well.
completely. I understand from his point of view. He's not got too many years left, and for him, he's probably on an absolute packet at Manchester City. It would be an amazing atmosphere to be around if you're a professional footballer.
Yeah.
He probably gets a few nuggets here and there, and probably thinks, I am maybe good enough to break into the side. But anyway,
On the chat you had on Thursday as well, just because I listened to it as a listener.
you've got a right to reply.
I loved it. No. I don't need to do that. But you guys talked about the lack of ability to control the game in midfield against
That De Jong
Netherlands.
type player.
Yeah, and I think I completely agree with that. And did you guys see anything in the game against Switzerland where you felt it was a bit easier for England in the midfield? Because to me, in international football, that's really important.
Mm.
And with Winks in there, a fully fit Winks to grow into that role, I think
Yeah.
it would be really exciting. But of course, we can't see him staying fit. I wonder if James Maddison is quite that kind of player, although
He'd be
he's an exciting player.
Touch further forward. But I think with
And there's
England,
not that many other candidates.
no, there isn't. But you don't have to play with that sort of fulcrum, that deep lying playmaker that the Dutch played with, and Pirlo we know about, and Modric as well. You could have one or two midfielders who are sitting in front of the back four, and then a kind of not a number 10, but somebody who's more of an attacking midfielder in front of them.
Yeah.
And so there's different ways to control a game. But I think England against the Netherlands, I think they tried to go toe-to-toe with them. Whereas when England went away to Spain in that 3-2 win in Seville, which was an amazing England performance, especially in the first half, the way England played, England said, well, we know you're going to have more of the ball and you're going to have control, so we're going to hit you on the break, we're going to do this. And I say the first half of that game was one of the best sort of sections of an England performance I think I've ever seen. With the Dutch, I think they weren't sure, and I think they probably thought we'll go toe-to-toe with them and we can have them. And it turned out that it wasn't the case.
I thought it looked like they relinquished control of the football and then tried to play on the break, which is a gamble because you never have control of the game.
Yeah, but I think you can almost kind of, in a weird way, I keep going back to that Spain game, you can try and almost control the game like Mourinho does. Mourinho says let them have the ball, and they still manage to control a game, his sides.
But he has a lot of time to work the players.
He does, but it's the same for everybody international level, though.
Yeah.
So that's just across
to
the
me,
board.
it feels like Southgate. He played three at the back with like one just in front in the World Cup, and that was like
Yeah.
his system, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
that's what they stuck to, and that's what they'd worked towards, and that's what they were going to play. And now he seems to be quite committed to 4-3-3 in this cycle.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if he is going to commit to that, and we're going to play that every game, I'm not against it.
He's more of a diamondy type in Switzerland. I think he's almost playing variations of 4-4-2.
But he has to have the players in there that can execute those roles. I don't know whether at the moment with the fitness issues we've got and the unavailability of players, whether against the good teams it's perhaps a bit of a wasted fool's errand. That's
so how would you like to see England line up then?
Don't know.
Well, if you're saying about the players we haven't got, I'm saying that the
I
players
think you need someone
got,
if you're going to play with a three like that, and
Henderson and Dyer in front of a back four.
I think you have to play Henderson there as the fulcrum in the absence of Winks.
Even though he's had a very good season not playing that role, and he said to Klopp, "I don't want to play that role."
No one else can do it.
Well, Declan Rice hopefully could grow into
Not
that
that type
role.
of player, in my opinion.
Is it time for John Shelvey?
Yes.
There we are.
Get there in the end, and we can move on, can't we?
Sorry, Jim, were you going to say about that position?
No, I was just having a little daydream about John Joe Shelby pinging them into Grant Holt. Go further down memory
Get him
lane.
on that cargo plane.
Halcyon days.
Well, Southgate said he's been very pleased with the players' desire and hunger to get better and grow as a team. So it's pleasing that it ends on a positive, a slight positive. Obviously, not the positive we wanted.
Well, it is a positive.
Yeah.
You win the game, you lose a game, you win the next game, you come third. That's positive, in my
But,
opinion.
Pickford was saying you learn more from the failures and all.
Yeah.
So I think it's been a learning curve, and it's all right.
They've learned how to be confident in a penalty shootout. You could see that in the players,
Yeah.
and it's just invaluable.
And they've also learned, I think, that to not let disappointment affect them. It felt like for many years watching England that every disappointment was just informing the next one, and nothing would ever improve. And when Jordan Pickford says, "Oh, you learn from more than defeats," I agree, but you can't keep having defeats.
No. Yeah.
So if you learn,
We've learned so much.
if you have a defeat and then you win the next game, then you can say that, right? England didn't learn from tournament after tournament after tournament, so hopefully we're seeing an era now where we will.
But do you not think, though, because people immediately go, another semi-final defeat, as soon as we came up against a better side. I actually don't go in for that, because since the semi-final, England came through that group with Croatia, who beat them, and Spain, who are better than England.
Yes.
Yeah.
England found a way to beat those sides. I know against Croatia.
And if it wasn't for Jan Sommer, who's one of the most underrated keepers in the world from what I've seen. I mean, I don't watch him as much as some, but every time I see him, he looks brilliant.
He made some good
If
saves.
it wasn't for him, England would have won that game easily.
Yeah, and so I think it is more of a positive than a negative. It does highlight, again, an area where England struggle. But sometimes that area does need highlighting, and at least it wasn't highlighted in a next summer.
Yes.
And this gives Southgate something to go away and learn.
So maybe the
blah,
Nations
blah, blah.
League's been very useful for England on that front.
Yeah,
then.
we've used it to our advantage.
Yeah.
Again, we've learned so much. We're like grandmasters now.
Yeah, absolutely, Petey, absolutely. Portugal, of course, won the first UEFA Nations League ever. The trophy will sit alongside their European Championship trophy. They're having a lovely time. They hold 2 of the 3 belts. Incredible.
Yeah, very much so. It was the ceremony was strange, wasn't it? Give it to Ronaldo and then let him carry it over to the rest of the team.
That was a bit odd.
Can I just check that Marcus is now fully endorsing the idea that Portugal hire Eddie Hearn and get them to play to organise a game against France for their World Cup belt?
Yes.
To become undisputed kings of the world.
I think that's how it should work.
Up for it.
Yeah.
Didn't they? But they have that, though. I forget who's got the title now, the unofficial world
And
champions.
do you know why that is? You know who
Because it doesn't
started
matter.
that? Do you know who started
Scotland
that?
did.
Scotland started that after the World Cup in
1967. Yeah, of course they
yeah,
did.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene is so typically Scottish.
Yeah.
I do like the look of the trophy, though.
Yes.
It's a nice
I think
one,
it's
wasn't
nice.
it?
Yeah, it's a lovely.
I
little
realised watching the game, and I should have realised what the trophy looked like because it's kept flashing up. But
think
I don't know what it looks
I
like.
wanted to
don't know what
WhatsApp you that,
expect.
but I didn't want to be mean.
Yeah, it's
It's
on
in
every logo.
TV show, yeah.
It's on every logo that you see.
But you know what I mean? It's not burned into the consciousness like the other
Exactly,
ones
yeah.
are, you know?
I would say that the delivery of the medals to put over the heads of Virgil van Dijk, etc., was spotless. The way that
Really?
who was giving them, I can't remember who was giving that, but
Sepp Blatter.
hand behind, one fell motion just over the head,
Yeah, the
hand
practice
behind, over the head, hand behind, over the head.
The runners up take them off straight away, don't they?
Yeah, they
So that system happens, and as soon as they walk past the guy in the middle, they take it off again.
Yeah.
a bit
But
different.
when
Yeah.
it comes to giving those things out, though. I mean, the facilities and the training and the nutritionists and even the sports psychologists involved in people putting runners' medals
Pays
on now
dividends.
in the game are just,
Yeah.
are just streets ahead
It's
of
all
anything
about
we've seen
marketing. It's a
before.
bit different the way England got their medals. Gareth Southgate said, I think, do we get bronze medals? Oh, yeah, hang on a minute. Here they are. Yeah.
Is that the recycling bin or is that? Yeah.
Carry it
What do you mean, look in that bin bag? I don't want to look in there.
Just toss it over. There
Yeah,
you go, boys.
yeah.
Well done. Gonzalo Guedes got the only goal. Silicent, he got a big hand to it, but he couldn't keep it out.
It was one of those ones where actually you can't really blame the keeper for it because he hit it with such power.
Oh,
Jim, I think he has to save it.
You think?
I think he has to save it. That's
His
my first
hand just gone
instinct.
bow.
Yeah, exactly. It's just gone through his hand almost.
I
hasn't
think
it?
his dive's too high, and so if you look at it, it hits the bottom of his hand. I think I don't know. I mean, you guys obviously don't agree, Marcus.
He
What do
could
you
have
think?
got a bigger palm on it.
I think he has to
Didn't he?
save
Yeah.
it.
I don't know.
It's
Okay.
difficult.
Yeah.
I have to. I abstain from this.
He was
vote.
Yeah.
he was at
Must
full
be nice
stretch,
being the host.
arm outstretched,
Yeah.
and it was straight in there. But
Oh, fair enough.
it looked like watching that match. I was like, oh yeah, this is what international football looks like. People
Yeah.
taking absolute howitzer shots all the time.
Yeah.
Keepers palming it out.
Because-
It was
But
fantastic.
the way the ball came across, the pullback was poor, wasn't it? So he had to make adjustments.
It was
And
slightly.
it looked to me like he couldn't get as much power on it. But I'm obviously talking.
Ronaldo
nonsense.
was screaming.
Yeah,
for the ball.
absolutely.
Yeah, he
And
was, yeah.
Guedes is lucky,
Yeah.
isn't he, that he scored
under that pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think Ronaldo was annoyed that it wasn't him that got the goal?
Actually, you know what?
Probably.
You expect Ronaldo to be annoyed about that sort of thing, don't
Yeah.
you? And throw a bit of a hissy fit. But actually, he didn't look like that at all. And
No, he didn't.
He was
Mellowing in his
people
old age.
talk about him not being a team player in the big games, but he absolutely was yesterday.
Do you think though, when he lifts that trophy, he's like, it's another international trophy that Messi doesn't have?
Yeah, of course he does.
Of course he does, yeah. I mean, he
2-0.
can't have it.
Sooner or later, the South American Football Association, CONMEBOL, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are going to create a tournament for Lionel Messi to win.
That has three
Because-
trophies.
because
I mean,
Messi's
they've
got-
done their best with the Copa America,
Yeah, they've
but
got
Chile
it.
have nicked it on penalties twice against them. I think. Is
Yeah.
it twice that Chile beat
They
them?
definitely don't
Once.
want. Yeah.
Might have been twice when it was all Argentina. I mean, they don't need to. He's had a big chance.
I'd love
There's
it.
another chance this summer.
When that game happened, I'd love it if the camera just cut to the director's box and
Yeah.
Ronaldo's just sat there with the sunglasses on, just nodding, going,
Chile,
yeah.
full Chile kit on.
Yeah, should have spoke to me. Should have come to me for tips.
Starts
Incredible.
on Saturday, isn't it? The Copa America.
Oh, yeah.
Just like football doesn't end.
No, it
now,
doesn't.
does
No.
it?
But those players didn't
endless.
have a tournament last. Oh, they had the World Cup, but they didn't have the European Championships. So it rotates.
It's an awful lot of football they've
It's
played.
just exhausting.
Get
an
on
awful
with
lot
it.
of
Get on
football.
with it.
Ronald Koeman said that Portugal were the masters of defending when they went ahead. And that defensive lineup he is referring to there includes Jose Font, the former Crystal Palace, Southampton and West Ham man.
They were great.
Which I find incredible. he was so poor at West Ham. He went off to China. And you
He
think,
did
well,
get caught out against Holland once. You see, was it Memphis nipped in? And it was like he was very unlucky.
clean sheet.
Yeah, no, yeah.
He's won the UEFA Nations League.
I know. Have a bit of respect, Luke.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Pepe wasn't there because he was injured.
He was getting involved though.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
But the Portugal, they are very solid. Fernando Santos has got them well drilled when it comes to
They've got some good
defense.
players.
They do, and they were the better side by a long way, which is surprising against that Dutch team. And they're in an exciting place because obviously Ronaldo is some sort of bionic man, so you wouldn't want to sort of make any bets on when he's going to retire or even sort of dip his level. Bernardo Silva is a fantastic player that would be probably like. He would be the shining light, wouldn't he, with Ronaldo, not this.
Or Bruno
freakish
Fernandes.
character. Bruno Fernandes coming through as well. But then William Carvalho is 27 now. So he's at a consistent level in his game. And they look like a really strong team rather than an okay team with Ronaldo in them.
It's almost like you think of Ronaldo as soon as you think of Portugal. And I'm not saying you do automatically think this consciously, but you think, oh, they've got Ronaldo like a one-man team kind of thing. Yeah. But they're not. I mean, they've got a load of good players. And the players they brought off the bench, like Neves, Moutinho, Rafa, the young kid.
And they've still got Jose Font in defence.
Yeah.
Remarkable. Bloody remarkable.
Do you think Ronaldo will make the next World Cup? I think he probably will.
I think he's got to be aiming for that, right?
Yeah.
He'll be there.
Yeah.
He'll be there.
Big time.
Don't worry about that.
Manager.
Before we go to an ad break, very sad news to hear the passing of Justin Edinburgh.
Yeah,
Just
it came out of
49
nowhere,
years
that, didn't
old.
it?
Absolutely tragic. Yeah, I mean, suffered a heart attack just after a couple of days after the Champions League final, which I think he was involved in I think he was over in Madrid doing some work over there. Looked full of life, apparently. Obviously, just delivered Leighton Orient back to the Football League. 49 years old
Absolutely
as well.
horrendous.
Absolute tragedy. Very, very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, a lot of nice tributes coming in for him. But
By all accounts, a lovely, lovely man as well.
And he fostered a real atmosphere at that club as well. And there was some wonderful videos of
There
him
were,
just
weren't there?
larking about with his players. It's so horrible.
yeah, it really is horrible.
I just want to say thanks to everyone for making it possible for us to come this far and to push on even more in our pursuit of creating football podcast that everyone hopefully enjoys. Have a great summer. Enjoy the best of episodes we've got lined up for you over the next few weeks, and we'll be back before you know it because Football Ramble Daily is coming Monday, 5th of August. Football Ramble Daily, Monday, 5th of August.
Football Ramble Daily's coming home.
It is. It is.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for journeying with us for another season. We couldn't and wouldn't do it without you. And you have given us more than you could ever know. And I hope we've given you something back in, something worth your while. Yeah. And certainly as the Football Ramble Daily will give you a lot more rambles and all that. We should be back towards the end of July. But thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a bloody pleasure. Luke Moore, thank you.
We're back middle of July, but the daily one starts 5th of August. I just want to make that clear. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Well done, Pete Donaldson.
Goodbye, everyone.
Well done, Jim Campbell.
Enjoy your summer, everyone.
And well done, listeners.